Defenders, Episode 5, Take Shelter. We've already reviewed the first 4 episodes. Check them out if you haven't. We are going to be going over spoilers, so be warned if you have not watched this already. Now, getting into this episode, I like this episode. It was pretty good. I like with that cliffhanger that we were left off at. We're in the restaurant where Elektra comes to confront the Defenders, and then Jessica Jones throws a car right at her. Kind of felt like bumper car where it just smashed right into her, but that was really a cool moment. Then seeing Murakami jump into the restaurant, and then we kick it literally off with an action sequence. A really cool way to start an episode. Just literally starting at the end of where the last episode resumed, and then starting with an action sequence was a cool way to start off the episode.
Yeah, I thought it was cool too. Even before Murakami jumped through the window, you're starting to see all the 5 fingers start to assemble. And it's kind of the first time, they're playing that music, and then you see them kind of assembling for the first time, so you know that, the Defenders are definitely in for some trouble. And then, he jumps through that window, we see that sick fight with all of them. It was great to see.
Yeah, definitely. And I gotta say, too, it was really cool seeing Sawande, one of the 5 fingers of the hand, seeing the finger touch he was doing and his martial arts skills, because, again, we learned a little bit, and I don't remember if it was this episode or one of the previous episodes, about how the hand, they also trained in Kunlun. So, his fingers, he's got the touch of his fingers basically have, that mystical power of, from Kunlun. So, he's able to really, inflict some
fight
damage.
Off Luke Cage.
Yeah, he's actually able to inflict some damage, which I thought was interesting, because we don't see, other than Diamondback using that Justin Hammer Iron Man 2 gun in Luke Cage Season 1, other than that, you don't really see Luke Cage in moments where you feel really threatened for him. So I really thought that was cool, seeing that fight between him and Sawande. I was kind of annoyed a little bit when he does end up capturing Sawande and we didn't really get to see it. Because again, I felt like Sawande was actually an actual threat level to Luke. I kind of wanted to see Luke struggle a little and then ultimately stop him. But then to see him walk through it, I didn't have the payoff that I personally wanted to feel in that moment. But I mean, I still like the character Sawande. You like his speeches, his motivation, and his fighting skill. Really cool. I just would have liked that payoff a little more with seeing him and Luke get that little battle that I wanted to see.
And then I really like the scene of Stick talking to Matt about becoming the leader of the team, because, I feel like right now Danny Rand is the one trying to get everyone to come together, and Matt has definitely been reluctant because, he was talking about loved ones and things like that, and he's always been conflicted. But he really is, I feel like, the leader of this group, and he definitely needs to be. So I really like that Stick was the one trying to instill that in him, even though he was still kind of fighting it off.
I agree. Not only is he the leader of the group, he's got the most experience with the hand as well. So
and kind of the most skill, if you think about it.
Yeah, for sure. But the big thing is, it just makes him more relevant, and also it shows this team does need a leader, because they're all obviously very powerful and skilled in their own ways, but like we've talked about earlier, there's a lot of difference in ideology, and then also too, they don't always see eye to eye in exactly how they want to accomplish their goals, even though they, at the end of the day, they do want to save the city. Ultimately, they have different personalities, so they do need a leader.
And I also love seeing all the members of the hand kind of in their layer too, converging and talking, and just seeing all of their own dynamics, the dynamic within their group, and how there is kind of a lot of turbulence and strife, they were saying, and they're trying to question Alexandria a little bit, so it was cool seeing that dynamic.
The reason I thought it was kind of a little, not shocked, but it was interesting to see, because up till that point, you really felt Alexandria was invincible in terms of, from the loyalty of the fingers of the hand and the rest of the clan, and also just in terms of not feeling like she's gonna be questioned at any moment. But it was kind of cool to see that vulnerable side to Alexandria, and the team actually, or rather the fingers of the hand, actually questioning her, and you felt a lot more vulnerability for this character now. Maybe she wasn't possibly safe, which maybe we find out later happens next episode. But I thought it was an interesting moment. One thing I really love, I love the chemistry between Danny Rand and Luke Cage. I think they're great together, and I really hope at some point we get a spin-off Heroes for Hire show. I think that would be awesome. I'm just saying, I'd love to see Heroes for Hire, but the chemistry that I loved a lot of the chemistry in the show, but two of my favorites were Matt Murdock and Jessica Jones. They could not be any more different, and the way they clash and how they try to out-humor each other, it's so funny, and so it just really works. They really work together.
Well, yeah, because Jessica's humor is, not her humor, but her attitude is just so dry. And then Matt is just kind of intense to different levels, so it definitely works. And it was cool, because Luke Cage and Iron Fist kind of are more similar, and then those two are definitely more similar, so they definitely split off in that a little bit. It was kind of cool.
Definitely, and I also thought it was really interesting seeing the clash of, when they find out the truth about Matt's relationship to Elektra, because that really is a hinder to what they're trying to do. Matt's not laying everything out on the table to them, and I like that conflict it creates in the group, because there's not always going to be sunshines and rainbows, between every group when they fight. I like seeing that conflict within, and it just creates a more compelling storyline. So I thought it was really interesting the way it was handled.
We also get the confrontation of Colleen seeing Bakuto again. We thought he was dead, and it was cool seeing her kind of face off against her old master and just really conflicted. And he really kind of gets inside of her head a little bit, makes her, she's already feeling a little bit like she doesn't belong, she's not part of the team, and she feels on the sidelines a little bit. But Bakuto is just trying to get in her head a little bit, and it's kind of it's an intense scene, and then we get a little fight, and he actually slashes her up and cuts her abdomen a little bit. So
it's all right. They got clear temple. No worries about gashes or anything like that.
That is true.
So.
And it's also kind of cool seeing all like the secondary characters of each of this show kind of congregate in that police station. It was cool just seeing them interact a little bit. We didn't really get too much, but we saw Trish talk about Claire a little bit, and just it was cool. I wish I would have seen a little more interaction with Foggy, but we saw Colleen in that group too, and as well as Claire.
Yeah, I agree with you. I would have liked a little more interaction too. I get why they didn't. The show is about the Defenders, so they don't want to put too much focus like on those other characters. But I agree with you. I would have liked a little more interaction, a little more for them to do. But still, that being said, it was cool seeing them all together. This also, I believe, was our first appearance of seeing our Daredevil costume since the end of season 2, where he hung it up after Elektra's death. I gotta say, I freaking love this Daredevil costume so much. It's way better than the one he wore at the end of season 1. It's the season 2 costume from Daredevil, but I love this costume. It is such a good looking costume, and he just really embraces it and looks like the devil of Hell's Kitchen.
And the way it comes out too, you just see him in a fight, like all of a sudden you're like, oh, Daredevil just shows up saving Jessica Jones from Murakami, and that fight that they have is pretty sick also. So just that whole scene, just seeing the costume for the first time and the fight was just great. Yeah.
No, it definitely was a great reveal, and that actual fight, the fight choreography, the way him and Jessica work together, it's a good scene. It's a good stamp on that reveal of Daredevil. Definitely, I agree.
And then he shows up at the warehouse too, and he's kind of interrogating Sawande a little bit, like choking him with this thing, and it's so funny. Danny Rand's like, man, that's so cool, and Luke Cage is like, yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, I like that little exchange. And then,
the humor there too.
And we see Daredevil kind of, actually getting back at Sawande, because earlier in the episode, Sawande was kind of getting in their heads a little bit, talking to all of them about, how he's going to go after their loved ones and that kind of thing. So it was cool to see him actually take charge a little bit, and then, he kind of goes a little too far, and they start to turn back on Matt. So they kind of back to the conflict.
And then Stick does what he loves to do to members of the Hand. He decapitates a member. I think the last one he decapitated from the Hand that we really visually saw of the notable importance was Nobu. So he's like, try to resurrect that or something. He said something like that. But I mean, like I said, Stick is a very big fan of decapitating people and members of the Hand. So that was definitely a crazy exchange. And I think like this whole decapitation thing all started with Wilson Fisk in Daredevil season 1, where he just pile drive that guy with the car door, the Russian guy with the car door. So they love in the Marvel Netflix universe really decapitating people. So this is definitely darker and grittier than the movies. But like I said, I thought this was a really good episode. It was really cool seeing where they left off from the last episode, and I liked a lot of the exchanges and the conflicts, not only from the Defender side, but also from the Fingers and the members of the Hand, and then also, like I said, the Sawande using his Kunlun finger power. That was really cool on Luke Cage, and there were a lot of other cool things in this episode. So I really enjoyed this one.
Yeah, definitely, me too. I just think, we got to see them still fighting a little bit as a team, but still trying to get things done at the same time, and then also seeing the Hand being a team themselves or an organization. So it's cool to see that from both sides. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this video. Let us know what you thought about it in the comments section, and if you like these videos, you can hit the subscribe button.
See you guys next time.